I am incredibly grateful to you for making this time to speak with me. I truly, truly appreciate you as an elder who has been very kind to me in getting me seated and giving me the feeling of belonging in Canada. So I owe you that. I have mentioned that before to you, but I'm saying it again. Presently, we are going through a very difficult time. So to begin with, I would like you to start with telling people more about you and what you do.
Sure. So 𝙤🫖𝙫𝙤𝙬𝙤 Nikamoon, 𝙤𝙤𝙫𝙤𝙬𝙤 Mayingan Dodem, 𝙤𝙤𝙫𝙤𝙬𝙤 Saskatchewan, Eskasoni 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙤𝙤. What I've said is my name is Earth Song. That's the name I was given before I became a human being. And that's the name that my ancestors and the Creator know me by. And when I came into human being form, that name was interpreted to my family as my name of who I was before I became a human. So it's very important for Indigenous people to have that connection to their spirit name, to link them to their families and to the Creator. I've also said I'm from the Wolf Clan, and I'm from 𝙤𝙤𝙫𝙤𝙬𝙤 Saskatchewan and Eskasoni First Nation. I'm an elder at Seneca College in Toronto, and also at Fleming College here in Peterborough and Lindsay, as well as in the community. So I do a lot of community work. I work with marginalized students, with international students, with the two-spirited students, and all those Indigenous that come into our centers, and those that need help in the city.
I know the contributions you make, and I know how important it is for people to develop that connection with the land that they live on, to be respectful of, and the knowledge they gain from you is key, because you are the knowledge holders of this land, and what you are passing on is priceless. It's just so priceless. Thank you for doing all you are doing. With COVID-19 happening, we are all hurting. The whole earth is hurting, for that matter. What is it that you feel has happened, has gone wrong? Is there a blessing that you would share with us in this moment of crisis?
Well, I've been getting lots and lots of calls from people because they're afraid. So this is a really heightened sense of insecurity that people have right now, of the unknown. And, I was thinking about earlier today, I was outside in my backyard and I was watching the birds. And the birds are happy. The birds have been singing and singing and singing. And the birds are happy because there's less pollution. The birds are happy because the cities are quieter. Nature is healing. Mm-hmm. Nature is coming back. For Indigenous people, we have heard for a long time, and since the beginning, from elders that existed before us, that we would go through certain times and certain events would happen. We know that in the 8th fire, they talked about the 6th fire, when, I won't go into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a long time, but in the 6th fire it spoke about the children being taken away, the elders going to sleep, the sacred items being put down, those helpers that we use in the way of medicines would be put aside, and there would come a 7th fire. And that 7th fire spoke about the time when the youth would rise up and start going looking for the elders to get those teachings, to pull out the information that sustained human beings since the beginning of time. Those sacred bundles would come alive again. People would pick up and start attending ceremonies and start doing those same things that their relatives did a long time ago. And we're in that 7th fire. And that 7th fire said that it's a time for us to change our ways, a time to be ready for the 8th fire. And that 8th fire speaks about peace and joy and harmony. But in that 7th fire, we have to make a choice on how we're going to conduct ourselves, what we're going to do. And to me, we're in that time, this time of a big crisis where people are so scared of something that they can't see, something they can't touch. And for Indigenous people, that's believing in something that you can't see and touch, that has power, that has existence. And for us, that's the creator. Now, this virus is coming to them in something they don't know about, something they never had to think about. The easiest way for me to explain it is, it's like a wake-up call for us to say, go back and learn our histories, go back and learn our methods of surviving, go back and learn our ways that we took care of each other. Start to use those medicines again. Start to be kind and gentle to each other. That was something that wasn't happening. Our families have dissolved. Our families are not family time anymore, where, a family sits down with each other and has meals with each other and communicates with each other. We do everything via these things, everything is modern technology. And like we're using today, it's a good thing, but there has to be a balance.
That's right.
And we haven't been balancing. So now is the time we need to get this wake-up call, and for us to learn, hey, people are with their families now that haven't been with their families since, and having children that are maybe between 6 and 10 years old. They only get to spend 3 or 4 hours every evening with them, and they only get to spend part of the weekends with them. So they're panicking. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to be present with their own families, some people. They don't know how to be present with each other anymore for long periods of time. This is telling us we're off balance. And how do we get back in balance? This is forcing us to. Through all those things that have happened over time, that were telling us about these things to happen, we didn't believe it. We were like, those things happened a long time ago. I can't say the word, the plague. The plague happened.
The bubonic plague.
Yeah, bubonic plague. When TB happened, when Spanish fever happened, and all these things happened throughout times. No one believed it would hit them until it did. And now we're seeing it.
And we see that today because at the onset of when the virus started, people were still going out, and people were not changing their ways, and people were not heeding to the public health advisories, and they were doing business as usual. And see now the impact that it has grown out of proportion, and now we are forced to either take it seriously or face the repercussions. So I completely appreciate you saying that nature has a way of telling us either you will do it by yourself or then things will make it happen.
Exactly. And that's where we're at, right? I mean, and we can't blame anyone for this, right? This is something that's happened. I know I've heard very derogatory remarks online about races of people, about where this originated. And you know what? We cannot blame people, because this is a virus that's going to strike anywhere, anytime, anyone.
Yep.
You see that no matter whether you're rich or whether you're poor. It is affecting people who are exposed to the virus. We didn't listen. We're still not listening. Right?
Yeah, and it is very sad that despite being in a state that we are now, we are still not taking heed and trying to use derogatory words or derogatory statements toward a certain kind of people. It's not right. We need to learn from our mistakes. We want to grow out of that mindset. It's important. So I'm glad you're making that point.
It's in the indigenous prophecies that are out there, that eighth fire speaks about a time when all nations would come together. And that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing people say, yes, people who are in New Zealand are hurting, we need to help them. Yes, people that are in South Africa are hurting, we need to help them. Yes, people that are in North America are hurting, we need to help them. Yes, people that are in Europe are hurting, we need to help them. That's those 4 nations, those 4 colors of that medicine wheel. That's those 4 races of people, right? You see people starting to get it, starting to finally understand. In Toronto, they have the caremongering or COVID mongering.
Yes, we have been talking about that a lot. In a lot of conversations we've had that. We have another one, it's called Angels for COVID-19 in GTA. mostly based in Brampton and Mississauga, but they are also doing similar work, which is really heartening to see.
And see, that's the beauty of being compassionate and kind. That's what this COVID is teaching us. We forgot about compassion. We forgot about kindness. And we didn't forget about it through our own doing. It's been taught to us. From when a child is in school and they're growing up to that school, everything is always pressuring them to be better, bigger, faster, stronger. And think about themselves. What are you going to be? You have to be a professional. You have to be, the leader of everything. Not everyone can be a leader. Not everyone learns through education process. There's those that are gifted with many gifts of art, with sound, of speaking, of listening, of fixing things with their hands. Not everybody is going to be an education person, but yes, we need that. But they don't teach balance in school. They don't teach balance about making sure your spirituality is taken care of, making sure your emotions are taken care of, making sure your physical body is taken care of, making sure your intellectual is being taken care of. It's all focused in one way on intellectuality, right? And now we're seeing that people are understanding, I'm not compassionate, I need to help somebody else. And we're seeing this giving of people who don't have a lot. They're just but giving what they feel they can to help.
That's so true.
Nothing.
That's just so true. That's so true. Our society, our education systems had taken so much focus on the individual that we had completely stepped aside or put away our families, our communities, our neighborhoods from being at the center or giving them their due space. So I guess this is a learning for us to go back and think about people that surround us.
Exactly. I mean, our neighbors, our direct family members, our family of the heart, our community family. It's not just our biological fathers and mothers and sisters and brothers that we interact with. We spend more time at our businesses with other people than we do with our own families. They become part of our family. So how do we balance with them and our family, making that priority to our families rather than to our work, right? That has changed well, right? And that's what people are not getting right now, right? They're out of their businesses for 6 to 12 hours a day, and now they're in their homes and they're like, how do I do this? How do I balance children with my job? I'm trying to be on a Zoom call and I still have to do some reports, and now I have this child here, and it's like, well, you see how privileged we've become. You see how self-centered we have become, that we rely on other people to do that work that we need and that those children need, right? Those solid foundations, that ability to be able to not struggle through life and have to spend all your time working and none of your time communicating with your own families, right? We're being taught that.
Yeah, we are kind of relearning how to live and the right way to live. So what would be your tips, a few tips that you could share for people to navigate this time? It's hard on everyone. What can people do to stay hopeful and motivated for this to pass?
Well, I'll say for non-Indigenous people, you have to reconnect back with your communities, your place of origin. What were your histories, your teachings from your belief system, so that you can address those things that are spiritually connecting to you? Or what did you take on yourself as a spiritual practice to use to help yourself spiritually? What did you do before for emotional support? Did you not have a contact that you could talk to and speak with? If not, now is the time to start reaching out to people and looking for those people that can help you emotionally. Physically, we have to make sure that all people eat in some way or another, because when we don't eat, all we think about is that growling noise that's happening inside of our belly, and our mind cannot connect and figure out how to process things. We become paranoid, we become anxious, we become unfocused. So we have to make sure our physical is taken care of. with food, right? With conversation as well. And then intellectually, we have to set aside that part of our day to learn something new, to try and bring an experience into our life, to occupy that void of space so that we're not focusing on only what we don't have, but trying to learn what we do need. And that could be in reading a book, that could be with watching a video, that could be with going online and learning about life survival skills so that you don't feel you're helpless in this time. Because you're thinking, what if I can't have access to food? How would I live? Well, there's many means to live without having stores, right? But that would involve going back to learning survival ways. Yes. So for me, I tell people who are calling me and who are very anxious and very nervous, first of all, what I want you to do is I just want you to stop for 10 seconds and take 10 slow breaths and focus on you being able to breathe in that air and then let that air out. And when you do that for 10 seconds, then I want you to think about something that's extremely important in your life, whether that be a family member, whether that be a pet, whether that be your job, whatever it is that's very important to you. And think about how lucky you are to have that thing in your life. Because at times people don't have anything in their lives that they feel gives them hope. They don't feel it gives them comfort. And then I ask them to go outside when I finish the call with them, and I want them to lean up against a tree. And that tree is what gives us life because it processes that oxygen. And I want you to lean up against that with your back, and I want you to focus on letting go of all those things, those fears, those ideas that things are hopeless at this point because you've never experienced something like this. And I want you to imagine that flowing down from your head right down through to your toes, and going into the ground, and know that our Mother, the Earth, will clean all those things away and send up that water of life to you through those roots from the tree. And know that you can do that anytime during the day. So I tell that to people, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, right? Find what connects you in those 4 quadrants of your life and learn how to be okay with sitting in silence for even a few minutes. I'm an extreme extrovert. So I like the crowds, I like the noise, I like being with people. But even me, this time is teaching me, you're not balanced. Where's your time to just sit and take care of you? I do my work in community and I help take care of community, I help take care of students, but what about me, right? So that's self-time. This is also a time for that person on the phone call to realize they're looking for the gifts and they're looking for the things that are out there, but they forget they're the gift. Each one of us is the gift. And when we come together, we create a beautiful basket of many gifts to share with each other. That's what I tell people. Think of yourself that way.
That's so deep. That's just so deep. I cannot thank you enough for what you just said. It's interesting how you brought that analogy. Like for you, it's not even an analogy, but I use that as an analogy of the tree, connecting with the tree and letting that life seep in, absorb into you. It's so wise. We really need to take the time to reflect on what we are doing and how we can absorb the energy from around us, from nature, and be better at what needs to happen. This is just so wise. Thank you for that learning. I really am feeling it. Also, you speak about nature and how the birds, earlier you were mentioning the birds, and I'm reflecting on it. The squirrels are out in the mornings when I'm looking at it. The squirrels are out. I notice that I can hear better. There have been times when I can hear the sounds as the breeze goes by, instead of the traffic that I constantly used to hear. It's calm. It's much more at peace.
It's important to get outside while it's quiet now. And I'm not saying go out and congregate with people. I'm saying even if you live in an apartment building, go outside of your building, find a spot, find a tree, lean against that tree, do that work. If you live in a house, go out on your front walkway or in your backyard. Nature is saying to us, I don't know in Toronto, but the other day we just got another bit of snow out here in Peterborough. And I looked outside and I seen it was snowing, and we had about already 2 inches of snow again. And I said, wow, look at that. Mother Nature is covering herself up to heal again. Because we're still not there letting her heal. We're still out meeting in groups and people and when we shouldn't be. So now she's taking care of that for us, so we're not inside.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it made sure that it made us stay in and not just walk out.
Yes. So that getting that balance, because if you're in your house 24 hours a day and you're not getting that exchange of fresh air, right, you're not going to be healthy. If you're not looking at the stars, if you're not looking at the sun, if you're not looking at the clouds, if you're not looking at the trees, if you're not looking at the birds or the squirrels or any other a leaf blowing along the ground, there's beauty in everything out there if we take the time to look at it. That's
so true. Thank you for that voice of wisdom. You always make me take back and reflect. For me, it's enriching. For me, I'm sure others will benefit from it, but honestly, this conversation is a gift to me. If there was a magic, go ahead.
So because I don't know if you've seen it, if you're on Facebook or not, but I was trying to figure out a way to stay connected with the students at both colleges, at Seneca and Fleming. And so I came up with doing a cooking tutorial called Cook'em's Cooking Corner.
Okay.
And my first one was to teach how to make fry bread, because people love our fry bread, right? So I made a video and I posted it on the 2 sites from Seneca, First Peoples at Seneca, and from Fleming, Indigenous Student Services at Fleming. And then I posted it on my Facebook page. And it had over 1,050 hits, which I couldn't believe what that meant. I was hoping I got it across to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 students.
Oh my God.
But people wanted those connections, whether it be virtual or physical. So every couple days I started to do another video, one on how to make hangover soup, which is a very basic soup. It really was called hamburger soup from a lot of people. Very low costs. Then I made one on chicken stew with dumplings. Food that people can make to bring together people. This is what used to happen. We used to have potlucks with people. Everybody would bring an item and we'd all sit down and eat together. That's how we feast when we're in ceremony. So that idea to bring people together was, that understanding was coming to me. You have to bring people together in this time when everybody's struggling. And I'm loving seeing people's live feeds on Facebook, because they're bringing us together when we can't be physically together. So we do need that as well, right? We
Absolutely.
need that.
Absolutely.
So my point was to use modern technology with old methods, right?
Yes.
And to understand other people have been through things like this and they survived, and we will too, if we're conscious about what we're doing, not being out there in groups and gathering, getting sick so that we can't help our families. Be those ones that keep our families together and keep telling our families, don't go out, don't do this. If you want to go out in your car individually and go for a drive just to look at nature, yes, definitely you can do that. But don't gather together where you're exposed to that virus, which is airborne, right? Which is passed through particles, droplets, right? So don't be in close confinement with people where you don't know where they've traveled with. But it doesn't mean that, you can't be connected through other means like Facebook Live. Right?
So great point and great advice, that practice physical distancing, but stay connected digitally or through phone or through video chats, which will help you to know and take care of others, but at the same time follow the health advisories so that you do not either get sick or pass on the sickness to someone else.
Exactly. We want this to be over, not to keep going.
Absolutely.
The more that we gather and don't follow those health warnings, the longer it's going to take. But
so Lou, you give so much in learning and wisdom. I want to ask you a question. If there was one wish that you would ask the spirits for yourself, and you could have that wish for yourself, what would that be?
You know what? It may sound funny, but I have all that I need. I have my service dog who takes care of me when I become overburdened and overwhelmed. I have a roof over my head. I have some food in my cupboards. It wouldn't be for me. It would be that we can work with each other as beautiful gifts and enrich each other. So it wouldn't be for me personally, but that people would understand like I do that everybody is a gift.
Wow, that's so gracious. That's so generous of you. I know we can all ask for something in our lives, and just having you in my life, I feel that it's in itself is a big gift. Thank you. Thank you for saying what you just said. One last giveaway from your side to the audience that will engage with this content. Is there something that you want to leave people with?
I would say when you get up in the morning, give thanks that you have another day to correct anything that happened the day before, to make changes to what you did the day before. And as you journey during that day, remember that we should be listening twice as hard as we speak. That's why we have 2 ears and only one mouth. Remember that when we put those words out of our mouth, they can't be taken back. So make sure they're gentle and kind. Remember to help someone out who's less fortunate than you, in whatever that may be. And I know sometimes people judge by giving monetary value to people who may not have a home or out in the street. When we give a gift, we don't put expectations on it, no matter what it is. When we give somebody a birthday gift, we don't tell them that, well, they have to like it because we gave it to them. We give because we feel like we need to give. So give with what you need to give. Maybe before you leave in the morning, if you know every day you go by somewhere and you're going to see people who are homeless, make them a sandwich before you leave to go to work and give them that, right? Mm-hmm. Give them a Tim Hortons gift card with $2 on it even, if that's all you want to do, right? So they can go and get something warm to drink. Give them something from your home. Give them a pillow that you have. At least they'll have a pillow. And then also to tell the people, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here as human beings. We've been put on this earth. We need the earth. The earth doesn't need us. So we've been put here to take care of the earth. So take care of the earth. Take care of the water. Take care of the land. And to remember that you're the gift, right? You are the gift yourself. What you do with yourself and how you conduct your life is how you're sharing that gift. So maybe take a look at yourself and say, how is my gift looking? Is my gift been put into a box and it's all tattered and it's all covered over in dust? Is it tarnished? Maybe I should take that off and dust myself off. Brush all those things away from me that have been collecting and not giving, and shine like the beautiful gift that we are.
Thank you for those words of wisdom. I am so grateful to you for taking this time to speak and share this knowledge with us. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to benefit from this, and hopefully this will pass and we can once again start meeting in person, but do so more wisely moving forward after we've learned from this situation.
It's not hopefully, it's as this passes.
As this passes. Okay, I like that better. It's way more hopeful, way more motivating. It will pass and we will work through it together. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please make sure to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell to keep updated with all our videos. Thank you.